In this video, we shall learn about Ohm's law, resistance and resistivity. Let's consider an electric circuit in which an ammeter is fitted to measure the amount of current and a voltmeter is fitted to measure the potential difference across two ends of a load. If we note down the readings of ammeter and voltmeter in the given table, and in the first observation, suppose we get 1 ampere current when 2 volt potential difference is created by the cell across the ends of the load. By increasing number of cells here, we can increase the potential difference across the load. And suppose we keep increasing number of cells one by one. We record the observation first of all as we have recorded for 1 cell. Then we double it and record observation for 2 cell, 3 cell, 4 cell and 5 cells respectively, and complete this table. You can see here, as the potential difference increases, current also increases, and in the ratio potential difference increases, current also increases in the same ratio. This relation of potential difference and current was first obtained by George Simon Ohm in 1827, and he formulated it as Ohm's law. So now we can define Ohm's law as at a constant temperature, potential difference or voltage across two ends of a conductor is directly proportional to the current flowing through it. Or we can say, when we increase the potential difference across two ends of a conductor, current also increases in the same ratio. So here we can write it symbolically as V is directly proportional to I. So by putting a constant R, we can make V is equal to IR or RI, where R is a constant and it is known as resistance. I know you are familiar with the term resistance, but you may not know how to define it. So we can define resistance as the hindrance of the conductor or the wire to stop the flow of the current, or the hindrance that do not allow the current to pass smoothly through a conductor is known as its resistance. So we can get the unit of resistance by using the formula R is equal to V by I. So unit of resistance will be volt per ampere, and 1 volt per ampere is also known as 1 ohm. So unit of resistance is ohm. This triangle well depicts the relation of V, I and R. It's when you want to get V will be equal to I multiplied by R. When you want to get I will be equal to V by R. And when you want to get R will be equal to V by I. This is how V, I and R are related, and you may solve different numericals based on this formula. As we know, 1 ohm is 1 volt divided by 1 ampere. We can use this relationship to define 1 ohm. 1 ohm may be defined as resistance of a conductor through which 1 ampere current flows by creating a potential difference of 1 volt across its ends. Here, this figure will well depict 1 ohm. Suppose we create 1 volt potential difference across AB point of a conductor, and by creating this potential difference of 1 volt across the ends of the conductor, 1 ampere current flows through this conductor, then we can say the resistance of this conductor is 1 ohm. Now, verification of Ohm's law. So, to verify Ohm's law, we need one ammeter, voltmeter, a resistance, few cells, wires, and a rheostat to provide the variable resistance. Here you can see how is this connection done. Here it looks quite simple. You see, from the resistance, voltmeter is connected in parallel and ammeter is connected in series, and then ammeter is connected to the battery, other end of the battery is connected to the variable resistance. And this is the real circuit diagram of experimental setup of Ohm's law. So, as we have talked in the beginning of this video, if we increase or change number of cells, or here we can increase the value of resistance in the rheostat also to get the different values of voltmeter and ammeter. If we note down type 6 observations of voltmeter and ammeter and plot a graph, VI graph, for the observed observations, then we will see that this graph comes a straight line, showing that by increasing potential difference, current also increases. This way, we can verify Ohm's law experimentally. Next topic is, what are the factors on which the resistance of a conductor depends? So, there are 4 factors on which resistance of a conductor depends. Number 1, length of the conductor. Resistance is directly proportional to the length of the conductor. It means when we increase the length of any conductor, the resistance also increases in the same ratio. Means if we double the length, resistance will also get doubled. Second factor is area of cross section. Cross section area, or we can say thickness of the wire. When cross section area is increased, resistance decreases, or we can say resistance is inversely proportional to cross section area. That means when area will get doubled, resistance will become half. Resistance also depends on temperature. Increasing the temperature also increases the resistance. And the last factor is nature of the material of the conductor. Resistance varies from material to material. That means if you take copper wire of the same length and thickness, it will provide a different resistance than an iron wire of the same thickness and length. Here you can see how is resistance related to length and cross section area. You can see for wire of length L, if resistance is R, when we take 2L, resistance will become 2R, and when we take 4L, resistance will become 4R. Similarly, for the cross section area A, if resistance is R, when we double the thickness or cross section area, then resistance will become R by 2, and when it become 4 times or 4A, then the resistance will become R by 4. So now we know resistance is directly proportional to length of the conductor and inversely proportional to cross section area of the conductor. We can write it as R directly proportional to L and R is inversely proportional to A, and combining these two equations we get a relation R is directly proportional to L by A. These two quantities R and L by A will become equal by putting a constant rho, or we can write R is equal to rho L by A, where this rho is a constant of proportionality and it is called resistivity of the material of the conductor. So rho is equal to Ra by L. Using the relation R is equal to rho L by A, we can get the relation rho is equal to Ra by L. So now we know that rho is equal to Ra by L. Using this relation, we can get the unit of resistivity. So resistivity's unit will be equal to unit of resistance multiplied by unit of area and divided by unit of length. By putting the values, we can get it will be ohm meter square by meter. That will come equal to ohm meter. Now here you have to note down one thing, that resistance varies from conductor to conductor. That means if you take different conductors even of the same material with different length and cross section area, they will have different resistance. But resistivity varies from material to material. That means if you take copper wire of different length and cross section area, all copper wires will have the same resistivity because they all are made up of copper. Similarly, iron wire of different length and cross section area will have same resistivity, but resistivity of copper will be different from resistivity of iron. It's little typical to define resistivity. Therefore, I have made it little easy by taking a conductor. Normally you see the conductors with circular cross section area, but here we have taken it a square. So here is a cube of length 1 meter, breadth 1 meter and height 1 meter. Or we can say we have a conductor of 1 meter square area and 1 meter length. Using the relation rho is equal to Ra by L, we get rho is equal to R multiplied by, if we take just 1 meter square area, so 1 unit area divided by 1 unit length. If we really consider it 1 meter square and 1 meter and we put this value in the provided equation, rho will be equal to R into 1 meter square divided by 1 meter, and that will come R ohm meter. So if we take resistivity in ohm meter, that will be equal to R ohm meter. So we can say that rho will be equal to R. Once again I want to say that if we take a unit area and unit length, then resistivity and resistance will come numerically equal, and we use this relationship to define resistivity. So here resistivity of the material of a conductor is the resistance of a conductor of that material having unit square area and unit length. For example, if we want to say it for copper, we can say resistivity of copper will be equal to resistance of a copper wire of 1 meter square area having length 1 meter. In this table, here is the resistivity of some common materials provided in the ohm meter. So, when you see resistivity of conductors or all the metals is of order 10 to the power minus 6 or less. So, conductors normally have resistivity between 10 to the power minus 6 to 10 to the power minus 8 order. Alloys or resistors have their resistivity between 10 to the power minus 5 to 1 order, and insulators have very high resistivity of order more than 1 up to 10 to the power 14, 16 or even more than that 10 to the power 17. You can see here silver has the minimum resistivity, so silver is the best conductor. Similarly, you can decide whether a material is a conductor, resistor or insulator using this table. Children, we have to solve numericals based on all the formulas that we have learned in this section, that is V is equal to IR and R is equal to rho L by A. That part I will deal in the next video. So in the next video, we shall learn to solve the numericals on different formulas. Thank you.